show. Hello, this is WVKC, the voice of Knox, 90.7 HD2, and this is The Big Picture, the show where we interview people about their passions and about their life. And joining me today is, well, myself, just me. I do not currently, as of yet for this term, have a lineup of people ready to interview. However, that is indeed on my schedule. In fact, after this, whilst I eat dinner, I am going to send emails out for particular days and schedules. I will send what days I am free to do the show, right? What days the show is in calendar, and then ask which ones could you do. And once I get those responses, I will lay them out. Which ones I want to do this term and which ones I want to say, hey, like, I have some people that can only be interviewed this term at this time. Can you wait? So that's the plan. One of which are going to be more than likely Frank McAndrew, the psychologist. Or at least that's my hope. It would be a wonderful thing. Anyway, since it's just me, we're going to talk a bit about me and about, I suppose, the nature of this show real quick. So originally, well, this show's been through many transformations, but currently the thought process of what the show will be, and I think this is what is most helpful and healthy for me, while still providing entertainment to all of you 10 people who listen, is to only do it at Knox, one, unless for special occasions when I'm home and feel like, you know what, I want to interview this person. Like over summer when you have Mother's Day and Father's Day, I'll probably interview both my parents, and so on and so forth. When it is applicable, interview. Other than that, it's only going to be here. It's going to be primarily interviewing Knox students. The recording time will, of course, be Monday 5 to 7, as you are listening to this right now, or upload time Tuesdays sometime in the day. I haven't have a set time for that yet, but I imagine I will, and once I do, I will let that be known as well. But that can kind of change with my academic schedule, depending on my course schedule. Now that we're done with all of that, we can get underway to more interesting topics. Not to say that the big picture, talking about the big picture is not interesting, but it's not as interesting as, talking about, other things in life. So I think the big thing to talk about is partially why I haven't really been doing the big picture all that much. And that's that I kind of hit with winter term, not having a roommate, being in this sort of weird point, right? Was in a bit of a lull in a lot of ways. I wasn't working out, although I have been going to the gym every day since I got back at Knox. I was in a bit of a lull due to many factors. But now I'm here. And I think that is true to the claim that in life there are ups and downs for sure. I think my goal as a person, and actually I do plan on talking about my ideas on self-improvement here in a bit, it's in my list of things I could talk about. To me, I apologize, it's just me speaking, I'm going to need water. That's some good water. All right. Point is, there are ups and downs. But I think that as people, our goal is to sort of acquire skills, self-improve, right? Build ourselves up, grow, so that when we do face those downs, we are more readily able to handle them, and they will not be as, well, turbulent, right? Because, if you have the tools to deal with a problem, when that problem presents itself, you'll be ready to face it, right? We always hear about things like when you are going through a rough time, take care of yourself. If you've been through a rough breakup or something, go to the gym, or if you all these different things people advise you when you are in a rough time. But I think equally so, it's important to do those things before something horrible in your life happens, right? Because it prepares you. Because if you're already, working out, or if you're already, taking care of yourself and writing a journal or poems or doing whatever it is that keeps you accountable, self-reflective, improving day by day, then when those things happen, you'll be like, well, this sucks, but I'm taking care of me, I'm stable, and even if I'm not stable because of the extreme of which this happened, right? Because sometimes, no matter what preparation you do, the situation is too extreme. at the very least, I am not as far behind as I could be in handling the situation, right? And I think that's a really big thing. And so I'm reminding myself of that once more to really get myself in line. Um, I guess what I mean by that, I'm going to go off from my topics, as I always do. I don't ever stay 100% true to what I have written down because improvise, right? um, Point of the matter, of which I mean, is that I'm working on myself. I'm working towards bettering myself. And yeah, I think the primarily things I'm working on are physical right now. Hitting the gym every day for at least 30 minutes, right? That sort of scheduling, which scheduling is so important. Like ever since I've started to use a Google Calendar, I've been able to better keep myself accountable, and better know what I'm doing. So I recommend to anyone use a Google Calendar. It's amazing because I have like workout time scheduled, and though I do not always follow that time, in fact I often usually go earlier because I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't have any homework. I'm not doing anything. Let's go to the gym now so that I don't later. And it's been very, very good. I am like out of breath though. I like how I talked about how I'm working out, and then I'm like, I'm out of breath talking. It's worth noting that, and this might be a thing to tell the WVKC people, it is very hot in this room. Very, very, very warm. I'm actually tempted to like donate one of my fans to this room because they had a fan, but it's broken, which is maybe partly why I'm only considering lending my fan because I feel like somebody broke that fan, either in a drunken college stupor or by accident. Maybe gravity just did its thing. I don't know. The point is, it's way too hot in here, and I only have one water bottle, so this is a fun time. Yeah, that was a tangent on water. You got 2 minutes of this, folks. So, for anyone listening, typically I interview people, and as such, it is not just me talking. I do not find just me talking to be all that interesting, though I guess I have a bias, right? Because I hear myself talk all the time. I prefer to hear other people talk and talk with them about their life. But I suppose I should get back on topic, which was self-improvement in general and preparation for issues, problems and struggles we all face, because we all face struggles. And this is another tangent I'm going to go on. I like how I'm going to go on topic, and now I'm going to go on another tangent. But I think it's important. I am talking so fast. Shows what spring does to you. Anyway. My goodness. Let's bring ourselves together. Struggles. We all face struggles, right? You and me, all of us, we all have. And I find that, at least in my own experience, there's this weird feeling. I know before I faced a lot of the struggles I had, this feeling of that you kind of, weirdly enough, want to experience that struggle. It's this weird thing where you feel like you aren't as grown up, maybe, or maybe that if you had this struggle, you would have this great epiphany, or you'd come out of it much stronger. And it's true. When you face struggles, you will come out of it much stronger. But and this might be weird to say, after having experienced such struggles, I kind of look back at me then and kind of wag my finger at me, because like no way could I have known how hard it would be, and I wasn't ready for it. And you don't ever realize you're not ready for it till it happens. And I kind of realized that instead of me going, man, I wonder when because everyone has a tragedy, right? Everyone is like, oh, everyone gets a tragedy, And I was sitting there going, when will mine happen, right? Because that's part of growing up, right? Is having a tragedy. But what I should have been doing was being grateful for what I had, and not walking around going, when is something going to be gone, Like waiting for that. Because that, be grateful for what you have. See the people around you who have experienced tragedy and kind of be grateful for what you have, because if you do that, well, that's preparation for the struggle when it does come. Because one of the biggest keys to getting out of a struggle is being grateful. having gratitude for the things you have, right? But if you're sitting around all the time, right? Maybe you haven't experienced tragedy yet, and you're going, when will my tragedy happen? When's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Me and my parents? Maybe one of my friends? Maybe I'm going to be kidnapped and be kept, or whatever. Or maybe I'm going to get in a wreck and not, have injuries for the rest of my life. Something like that. You're waiting for that tragedy. Why wait around to lose something when you can spend your time appreciating what you have? Because once you do lose something, because it is very true, all of us are going to experience tragedy of some sort. Appreciate what you have. That's all I'd say on that key. In a continuation with this idea of struggles, in my mind, there's this weird thing, and I think it kind of comes with the internet and the ability to kind of, talk to people in an impersonal way. We have a tendency of comparing struggles, right? It's this whole thing in really silly terms where someone goes, man, it's so cold here. And then someone goes, it's not cold here. I'm from Canada, or I'm from, Chicago. I'm from Alaska. I'm from the Arctic, and they go, it's not cold here. Well, it's all subjective, right? And it's hard. We can't know what the other person's struggles are because that person who's saying it's cold has likely never experienced this level of cold. But that doesn't make it any less of a struggle. In the same vein, when someone goes, and I see this a lot, I myself do not struggle with depression, anxiety in the medical sense, in the chemical imbalance where you absolutely need medication to sort of remain stable and, all of that sort of thing. But I even see with those sorts of groups and those individuals who suffer from that will compare as well. And I find that fascinating. People will compare all sorts of things. People will go, share a really sad story or be like, I'm really feeling down today. Like I'm feeling like I don't want to get out of bed or whatever. And then someone else is like, I don't even feel like opening my eyes, Or you say, man, I have so much homework. And someone else goes, yeah, I have a 10-page paper to write. And I don't think this always comes. In fact, I think this is a point in a class I took that was made. I don't think it always comes from a point of view of, look at me, I'm struggling more than you. At least not consciously. I don't think that's the case at all. I think usually when this is done, it comes from a place of wanting to empathize. But it is something to take note of, comparing struggles and tragedies. You can't compare the loss of a friend to the loss of a parent. They're both tragedies. They're both horrible. And to try to compare them and say one is worse than the other devalues a very serious struggle. And it doesn't have to be, so, and in the same vein, my tragedy is not any worse or better, should not be valued differently than someone's struggle with, let's say, anxiety or their struggle with parents who don't understand them or, and some people may hear that and go, well, clearly one's a bit worse than the other, right? In whatever value system they're using. But I don't think we should compare tragedy because no matter what you do, yes, you're going to increase the value of one, but you're also going to greatly decrease the value of the other. And so when people suffer tragedies that they feel do not get the respect and it deserves, then how can they take their struggle seriously if others don't? So we shouldn't be comparing tragedies in that sense. Instead, we should be empathetic. We should say, to which degree I understand, or maybe you don't, and be there for them. That's a conversation about struggle. Look at me going on and on and on and on about struggle. It's a real thing, though. And I think we could all stand to understand that everyone has a struggle. And also understand that everyone does have a tragedy or will have a tragedy, whatever that means to you. But to appreciate what you have and not wait around for something to be lost, right? Like, don't wait around to lose it so that you can greatly appreciate it, right? Because that's the thing. If you're waiting around for tragedy to happen and you're like, once I lose this thing, I'll grow so much. Why do that if you can grow now and be grateful for what you have, right? I mean, yes, there's this process of sort of growth that comes with tragedy, but don't rush it. Don't sit around waiting for it. That just sounded like make it happen, right? Make your tragedy happen. Not what I mean. What I mean is be grateful for what you have. Go to the gym. Do things to help you be a better person. Be a better you, I should say, because it's hard to objectively define a good person. But be the you want to be. Truly. Not the you you're content to be, but be the you really want to be. And prepare to face both great joy and great struggle. Live with gratitude. And yeah, that's my take on that. Now I'm going to take a big drink of water while you all think about that. You might disagree. I don't even know if anyone's listening to this live. If you are, send me a message of your thoughts or, whatever it is you do while I drink some water. If you're listening to the video, put onto YouTube, comment something, a thought, any old thing. Wow, it's only been 17 minutes. I don't know if I'll do 2 hours worth of this. That'd be difficult to do by myself, but I will certainly try to do for an hour this show, this thing that I'm doing. And I hope the video audio quality is well. I believe it is. It certainly should be. And we shall continue. So, self-improvement, which is, of course, my thing, is not the single cure for struggle. Not at all, because there is no single cure for anything. Well, people would point out, like, oh yeah, even so, antibiotics and things like that are like a cure, right? But it's also your own immune system and all sorts of variables that affect it, right? So, self-improvement. I kind of personally split it up into 3 categories, which are very cliche categories, but those categories are mind, body, and soul. Mind, body, and soul. We say it all the time. Or you can replace soul with heart, whatever you want to call it. Now, currently, I am very focused on improving the body because I have not been doing that, and I think in a lot of ways it's very underrated. It's either really underrated or really overrated. A lot of people go to the gym all the time, but don't really focus on the real thing. I guess I should say this. To focus purely on one over any of the others is not healthy. It's a mix of all 3, right? You can be the brainiest person on earth, know all these facts, be constantly training your brain with crossword puzzles or, stressing yourself out, that sort of thing, right? Really training your brain to think fastly, think off the top of your head, train those sort of mental skills, those sort of mind-based skills. But if you ignore your body and your sort of soul, your sort of emotional center, then you're gonna not be a well-balanced person. You're gonna be all over the place, man. You're not gonna be able to. You might be able to really think your way through a problem, but if you can't also work your way through a problem, like you can think of, all the ways to make a camp or, build this house, right? All the things. If you can't lift the lumber, if you can't really hit the nail in the wood, then that's also not great. And it's the same for all the others. So as I said, mind is sort of the skills, right? The mental skills that you could have. Improv is most definitely a mental skill. It's a mental improvement, as well as academics are mental improvement, and so on and so forth. The body is pretty simple as well. We all know it. Working out, doing cardio, eating right, stretching, being physically healthy, right? Also very important. And I say it's underrated, I think mostly because of the sort of health epidemics we do currently have and the negative connotation that some people have of those who go to the gym all the time. But there really is something about working out and improving your body that helps greatly with the other 2 parts. In fact, I would say that body improvement, the improvement of your body, is probably the most connected to the other two. And I feel like there's some scientific basis in that, right? Because the functions of us, who we are, I mean, we have a body. You know, some would say we are a body, right? Um, we are our body. Some people, and in that case, our body is a very important part. If we're not healthy, we're not going to be able to think as fast. We're not going to, be able to, really enjoy life when it comes to the soul aspect. And with the soul aspect, that's sort of more the emotional side of things. Though some would maybe argue soul should be in the mind category as well. But where I kind of distinguish it, for me, in terms of self improvement, is while the mental self improvement are skills, right? The soul self improvement is like empathy and, philosophical realizations about yourself. And it's really life. It's where tragedy comes in. The self improvement that tragedy can indeed bring and struggles do bring, right? Those create better your soul. And it's sort of best way to work on that doesn't involve waiting around for a tragedy to happen or having struggles to face. I mean, you can challenge yourself, and I would encourage anyone, if you're living a really, really comfortable life right now, try stretching yourself out a bit. Challenge yourself, But I would say a really good method is self-reflection, journaling, anything that can help you really reflect on yourself, and write down what you're grateful for and all that. Someone's in the WVKC room. I'm sure they're a lovely person. Yes, I'm sure they are. Oh, hello. I now see them. Okay. This happens sometimes when you're in a room like this. But anyway, I shall continue. You need all three of these, okay? You need all three. I've been trying to work on all three, and that's what I'm currently doing as of right now. And so, yeah, that's self-improvement. And you need that. And a way to do that, again, is Google Calendar. It's such an amazing thing. I can schedule myself my academics, and I'm going to work on my academics when improv is, when you go to the gym. It's amazing. It's great. Make yourself a schedule, all right? And with self-improvement, yes, you do also need relaxation. That's undoubtable, because you don't want to be constantly stressing yourself out. But, this is a big but, try to think about how many hours a day you waste. And wonder to yourself whether or not you could be doing some of the things that help relax you, listening to music, watching YouTube videos, listening to a podcast, or anything you do to help yourself relax. Ask yourself if you could do those things whilst doing productive things. Could you play a video game whilst listening to a podcast, an educational podcast, right? Like, let's say, man, I want to sit down and relax. Okay, play a video game, do something like that, and listen to an intellectual podcast in the background. Because even if you're not fully focused on it, subconsciously you might pick some things up. I don't know how valid that is, but it's just an idea, right? That should be considered. But you do also certainly need to relax. That's undoubtable. That is obvious. Take care of yourself. Relax a bit. Kick your feet up when you need, But also ask yourself whether or not there are passive things you could do that would indeed help with self-improvement that you can do while you're relaxing. Also, sleep. Sleep's so important. I once listened to a podcast about sleep. My goodness. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep, guys. It makes a huge difference. Get sleep, and it'll make you healthier. You'll be much more able to take on the day. Try things like don't look at electronics an hour before you go to bed, right? Because the light from those electronics is tricking the chemicals in your brain. Turn off half the lights in your house. Do things that can help you sleep is my suggestion, because sleep is so important, right? I could talk about sleep forever, but that might be a topic for another day. So yeah, self-improvement struggles. We've talked about those things, and to me, those are really big aspects, right? And they're things I am currently working on, very much so. So I might get back to you with different opinions or updates on how I'm doing on all those, right? Because I'm not an expert. It's not like I have like a great health or, I'm super mentally attuned or am like wise emotionally, right? I'm working on it though. And I'm preparing to face struggles by doing that. I'm not waiting for struggles. I'm not going, I want one to happen, right? I'm being grateful for what I have. I'm showing that by working on myself and by pushing myself forth. I'd like to think that, or I'm just crazy, and going to the gym allows me to stay a citizen of the world. God, how much time has passed? We're only, oh my goodness, we're only close to the hour mark. How does this even happen? I don't know. Okay, we shall continue on with the topics. So give me a moment. Normally I would scroll down the page of topics or questions, right, which I don't always use, but I like having them there to kind of give me an outline if I get lost. Is usually I can have I can scroll down while the person I'm interviewing is talking, listen to them real quick, scroll down, have the next set of things, and be good. But here I have to like tilt my head and try to talk whilst I do it. So yeah. All right. Sigh. A big sigh. This is a workout in and of itself. It's so hot up here. Okay. So, D&D. Sorry, not D&D. Tabletop Theme House. We're going to talk a bit about myself and how currently I am now, my rooming situation for next year at Knox is a theme house. And if you don't know what a theme house is, because you either don't go to Knox or do go to Knox and don't care, a theme house is essentially a house or or like a building, right, where people come together to live together under a certain theme. So you have like Eco House, where they're all environmentally friendly folks, or you have Smash House, where they all play Super Smash Bros. Yes, that is a house. There they play Super Smash Bros. All the time, and that's amazing, and I love it so much. Or Culinary House, where they cook. And they hold events and do certain things. So a group of my friends decided we want to do a tabletop theme house, and they were so kind as to invite me to it. So kind. And now we are going to live in a theme house that's themed after tabletop gaming. To some of you, when you hear tabletop gaming, I would mean Monopoly, Battleship, that sort of thing, right? To others, I would mean, I'm just moving the mic. To others, that would mean, I don't know, something like Risk. And then for me, it mostly relates to D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, the game of Satan. To some, it is not though. Well, I guess it can be if you want it to be, right? But soccer could be if you wanted it to be, You're really gung ho about making a game satanic. You could find a way. So yeah, D&D is just a game. It's make believe like you play when you're kids with a little extra rules, set in a fantasy world. With dragons and wizards and bards and fighters and knights, castles, But D&D doesn't just come in one flavor. That might be what some refer to as vanilla, though I am quite the vanilla kind of person when it comes to D&D. And others are like sci-fi. You got your sci-fi, you got your superhero, you got your, I don't know, anime. I don't know what kind of RPs they have out there, so what kind of tabletop gaming they got. I just heard a very loud door close, and I'm a little concerned. Anyway, we shall continue. Okay. So we got a tabletop theme house now. And that's a wonderful thing. And I have a few ideas, though I am, of course, not the head of this house. I did give the speech for whether or not we would have it, but I do have myself a couple of ideas. Ones I mentioned were in the warmer terms, particularly in spring term. We have real world person board games, right? So what we do is we set some things up outside in a field somewhere or something like that, and I'm just moving some things around. So that's probably not the best thing to do. We'll see. Anyway, I feel like I'm saying anyway a lot right now. So what this would entail is a little thing called real world or person battleship. It can be a building or a tarp that you set up. You have on both sides of the tarp people sitting and laying down in different formations. And then you have a thrower and an observer. The thrower is, of course, the person who will be throwing water balloons. You heard me, water balloons. Or like a big bouncy balls, like one of those big, you know what I'm talking about, like beach balls. If you run out of water balloons, right? Hitting it over to try to hit somebody, right? And you try to do that, and if you hit somebody, they're out, right? One of the people laying down on the other side. The observers will be on the opposite side of where their team is, and then they'll kind of give instructions to the thrower, like a little to your left, or there's a person, further back. There's a huge group of people in one area, right? They'll kind of give orders like that. And it's a really fun time. Truly, truly, truly. A grand old time. So that's one idea. Other ideas we have is like teaching people how to play D&D, because there are a lot of people, particularly in the Nux community, who would love to play. They don't really know the first thing about playing D&D. If you look at the D&D books, they're so thick and just like there's a lot in there. It feels like you're taking a class. So, but like without the teachers, so we're wanting to provide the teachers and like the actual lessons of how to do it, because it really is rewarding and it's really great. But what I would say is, don't think that you have to take classes to do D&D or anything like that. Just jump right in and you'll learn as you go along. And as long as you're with a group of friends who are like really open and good with each other, it'll be a really positive experience. I might have to call it quits before the hour's over. I feel like I've covered so much ground just here. And I will have people to interview, and I might even upload the interview schedule on the Facebook or something like that. That might be nice. Yeah, I mean, we'll go down the line of my topics, but I am exhausted. So, I'm excited to live with all those people at Tabletop Theme House. Though, of course, there's always that concern, right, that like living with all your friends starts well and sounds great, but then when you actually do it, it turns horrible and you end up hating all your friends. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But if it does, I can play that game. I'm down. Did you hear that sound of joy at drinking water? Okay. Next thing I have as a topic is improv. That thing I do that I feel like I talk about all the time. So I won't talk about it too much. I'll just give an update. Improv's been great. The freshmen are great. And my theory about some freshmen not coming to improv as much has stayed true. There have been a few individuals I will not name who have not been coming as frequently, which is understandable and was expected. Though, of course, we do have our 4 to 5 consistent people, and for that I am very grateful. Which is about the number we wanted. And with that, this term we have our last show with our very, very wonderful co-presidents, Trisha and Jackie. It'll be a very sad time because it's the seniors are leaving, and it's a very sad thing, and I'm very sad. But it'll be nice. We'll be able to celebrate their goodbyes, and I think it'll be a pleasant goodbye at the very least. And then new exec will be elected, which will be a great time, right? Any time where you're competing for votes in a group of people who are friends, it's a good time. It's a good time. But I think something worth noting about elections, if any improv person is listening to this, is that in the end, this is Knox College Improv Club, right? This is not the presidential office of the United States. It's not the end of the world if the right person, it's not the end of the world if you don't get the position you think you deserved. It's not the end of the world, right? Because if someone else gets elected, you know what that means? That means the majority, for the most part, believes that duo, that person is going to be better at the job. And that is no insult to you. It's like the comparing tragedy scene I was talking earlier. Don't compare. It's not an insult to you. Just continue the yes and forward. Keep doing good things, you know? And don't take it too seriously. And that's not to say you shouldn't give no thought to it, right? You most definitely should, because I don't think any of us want to see the club get run into the ground. We'd like to see it flourish. We'd like to see it improve. We'd like to see it have the recognition it does have and continue to get positive reception from the college. But also, it's a college improv club. It's not the end of the world if someone you didn't want to get elected gets elected, okay? Now that that's been made clear. You know, or if you don't get elected or what have you. It's a club. And we all want it to do well. And you don't have to be part of exec to help it do well. There you go. That's my say. Now that that's been done, improv's a good thing. Everyone should do it. I have the last topic's a big topic, which I won't really talk about. It was just sort of there in case, you know, when I was typing out the topics, I'm like, maybe I'll have like a lot of energy after talking about all these things and want to keep talking. And that's not to say I don't want to keep talking to all of you. I love all of you. I think you're all going to do great things, but that is to say, I am tired. It is hot in here. Yeah, all that. I think I will end it with this. We all have struggles we face, and there are no real big ways you can fix those problems, past those struggles. To me, what's most important, this is what I'll and I'm sure I've talked about this before, but it's because I believe it so thoroughly. What's most important aren't the big things, but the simple things. The simple things are the truly great things in this world. It wasn't a moment, it wasn't an epiphany, it wasn't a, you know, beautiful, divine moment that helped me get through what I have gotten through when it comes to my grief and my tragedy and the struggles I faced in my life. What it's been are the simple acts of love and kindness of other people and the simple acts I have made, you know, going to the gym, writing a journal, writing a poem, whatever, that have helped me. You know, getting out of bed. Getting out of bed is such a miracle, you know? It's such a beautiful thing, right? To be able to go to sleep and wake up. It's amazing. It's those small things, those simple things that truly make a difference in this world. And it's what truly makes a difference to a person. So go out there, say, how's your day been? You know, ask how your day has been. Smile at people. Give them a good handshake, you know. Treat them kindly. And yeah, do the simple things and enjoy the simple things. Be grateful, all right? So that's going to be the show. Next week, we'll have someone to interview. I plan on working that again right after I get out of this. So I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful time. And that, my friends, will be it. What a wonderful, wonderful time. Bye.